Stress is often underestimated because it doesn't show up in scans or lab results the way a broken bone or a failing organ does. But make no mistake, chronic stress is one of the most destructive forces working silently inside the human body. It creeps in slowly, disguising itself as responsibility, ambition, or even love. It tells you to push harder, sleep less, care more about things that don't matter, and ignore the signals your body is trying to send. The result? A life that feels like you're always running, always behind, always exhausted. And eventually, that internal pressure finds a way to break something. That is going to break something. What people don't always realize is that your body listens to every thought. Every time you tell yourself, I have no choice, I just have to deal with this, or I'll rest later, your body responds. It floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones were designed for emergency survival, short bursts of energy to fight or flee from danger. But in a modern world where the threat isn't a wild animal, but a deadline, a traffic jam, or a toxic conversation, your body stays in that heightened state far too long. That's when things start to fall apart. Your immune system weakens. Your heart beats harder and faster. Your blood pressure rises and inflammation spreads quietly like a fire you can't see. Over time, this constant internal pressure can lead to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, obesity, and even cognitive decline. A top heart surgeon doesn't need to read a journal to know this. He sees it firsthand. He watches patients come into the operating room, not just with physical damage to their hearts, but with lives that have been lived under relentless emotional strain. He has held hearts that stopped too soon, many not because of poor genetics or unavoidable conditions, but because of years of unaddressed stress. When he tells you stress is deadly, it's not theoretical. It's truth written in blood, in arteries hardened by years of pressure, and in lives shortened by mental and emotional neglect. What's even more tragic is that so much of this damage is preventable, but society has normalized burnout. It's become a badge of honor to be busy all the time. People are praised for overworking, for being available 24/7, for sacrificing sleep and skipping meals just to get ahead. Yet no one claps when your body gives out. No one applauds when you collapse from exhaustion or wake up in a hospital bed realizing that everything you were chasing suddenly doesn't matter. Success at the cost of your health is failure in disguise. The truth is, managing stress isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. It's not about quitting your job or running away from responsibility. It's about learning how to pause, reset, and protect your mental space. It's about choosing to say no to what drains you and yes to what restores you. It's about giving yourself permission to breathe, to step back, to slow down without guilt. Because you cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop. There is incredible strength in stillness, a quiet walk without your phone, a moment of silence before you start your day, a deep breath before you react. These tiny shifts are not trivial. They're life-saving. They tell your nervous system that you are safe, that you are in control, that you do not have to live in a constant state of survival. Over time, your body begins to recover. Your heart rate stabilizes, your blood pressure normalizes, you sleep deeper, you think clearer, you feel alive again, not just functional, but truly alive. It's also important to remember that stress isn't always about what's happening around you. It's about how you process it. Two people can face the same challenge, but the one who has tools to cope, to release, to reset, will walk away healthier. That's why practices like mindfulness, exercise, proper sleep, journaling, and meaningful connection aren't optional extras. They're lifelines. They're not soft, they're strong. And the people who embrace them are the ones who live longer, live fuller, and leave this world without regrets. You don't need a crisis to change. You don't need a diagnosis to wake up. You just need to make a decision to protect your peace like it's your most precious resource, because it is. Every moment you spend honoring your well-being is an investment in a longer, stronger life. Stress may be invisible, but its impact is not. You feel it, your body feels it, and if you ignore it too long, the damage becomes real. Choose peace before your body forces you to. Choose it while you still can. Every time you eat, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. This truth, though simple, is often ignored until the consequences become impossible to reverse. Processed foods have become so common in daily life that we forget they were never meant to be staples in a healthy diet. They're engineered in factories, not grown in nature. They're packed with preservatives, chemicals, added sugars, and refined oils that the human body was never designed to process in such high volumes. Yet these substances quietly work their way into our systems, damaging cells, disrupting hormones, spiking blood sugar levels, and triggering inflammation. It doesn't happen all at once. The problem with processed foods is that they offer short-term satisfaction and long-term destruction. That packet of chips, that frozen dinner, that sugary cereal, they're quick, cheap, and convenient. But behind the bright packaging and seductive flavors is a dangerous cocktail of artificial ingredients, low nutrients, and empty calories. The more often you eat them, the more your body forgets what real food tastes like. Your taste buds get hijacked, and cravings increase. Your energy drops even after eating. Your immune system becomes sluggish. You gain weight not because you're eating too much, but because you're eating too little of what your body truly needs. Top heart surgeons see the results of this every day. Clogged arteries, fatty liver, unstable blood pressure, insulin resistance. These aren't just genetic curses or bad luck. They're often the direct result of decades of poor dietary choices dominated by processed food. When asked, these doctors won't hesitate to point to food as one of the biggest, most preventable contributors to early heart disease. The heart, a delicate and powerful muscle, can only withstand so much abuse. Feed it junk and eventually it breaks down, just like any machine built to run clean. Real food heals. It energizes, it protects. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, and lean proteins aren't just diet items. They're life-saving medicine in edible form. They lower inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, and keep your arteries flexible and clean. But choosing them in today's world means going against the grain. It means saying no to fast food, skipping the easy option, and being intentional. It means reading labels, planning meals, and understanding that food is not just fuel. It's information for your body, telling it how to perform, how to repair, and how to survive. Your body is remarkably resilient, but it's not invincible. What you eat becomes your blood, your bones, your brain, your heart. It becomes your energy, your mood, your focus. And every single processed bite you choose not to eat is a small step toward a longer life, a clearer mind, and a stronger body. People often wait until they're sick to care about what they eat, but by then, the damage is harder to undo. Prevention is the real cure, and it begins with the fork. Food isn't just about taste. It's about responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself to nourish your body with respect, to stop eating what advertisements tell you to crave and start eating what your cells are begging for, to treat your body like a vessel of strength, not a trash can for convenience. Eating well isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about choosing real over processed, whole over artificial, nutrient-dense over calorie-dense. That doesn't mean you never enjoy dessert or never eat out. It means you stay awake to the choices you make, knowing that each one matters, because over time, they add up. Not just on your waistline, but in your blood work, your energy, your mental clarity, and your lifespan. What's most powerful is that food is within your control. You may not control your genetics, but you can control your plate. You may not prevent every illness, but you can give your body the best chance to fight back. In a world full of pills, surgeries, and shortcuts, it's easy to forget the power of simple, whole food. But those who live the longest, those who avoid the operating table, are often the ones who understood this truth early and honored it daily. The human body was never designed for stillness. From the beginning of time, movement has been a part of survival. People hunted, gathered, built, walked, carried, climbed, and engaged in physical effort as a natural part of daily living. But in today's world, modern convenience has removed the need to move. Elevators replaced stairs, screens replaced playgrounds, cars replaced walking, work moved from fields and workshops to desks and screens. And what used to be a life of motion has become a life of sitting. And it is killing us, slowly. A sedentary lifestyle doesn't just affect your waistline. It affects every system in your body. Your heart, lungs, muscles, bones, metabolism, and even your brain suffer when you stop moving. Sitting for hours on end causes blood flow to slow, oxygen levels to drop, and muscles to weaken. Your joints become stiff. Your posture deteriorates. Your spine compresses. The human body is like a machine that rusts when unused. Inactivity increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, stroke, and even certain types of cancer. And it doesn't take years. It starts affecting you in weeks. One of the most misunderstood truths about exercise is that it doesn't have to be extreme to be effective. You don't need a gym membership, fancy equipment, or an elite athlete's routine to stay healthy. You need commitment. You need consistency. You need to make movement a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Walking, stretching, cycling, dancing, swimming, climbing stairs, these are not hobbies. They're habits that can add years to your life. Even 30 minutes of brisk walking a day can significantly reduce the risk of cardiovascular issues. That's half an hour that can change everything. Heart surgeons and cardiologists constantly stress the importance of movement because they see the damage caused by a lack of it. They see clogged arteries, weakened hearts, and poor circulation in people who live mostly sedentary lives. They operate on bodies that have become fragile, inflamed, and sluggish, not because of old age, but because of chronic inactivity. These surgeons know that no medication or surgery can substitute for daily movement. You can't expect your heart to stay strong if you don't give it a reason to beat harder. You can't expect your muscles to stay firm if you don't challenge them. You can't expect your bones to stay dense if you don't put weight on them. What's even more alarming is how inactivity affects mental health. The brain thrives on movement. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, boosts neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. A body in motion supports a mind in balance. People who move feel more energized, more confident, more focused. They sleep better. They manage stress better. Movement is not just about muscles. It's about mood, memory, and mental clarity. Children are taught to move as part of play, but adults forget that movement is essential for vitality. At every age, the older you get, the more important movement becomes, not less. Staying active in your later years improves balance, strengthens your heart, and protects your independence. The goal is not just to live longer, but to live stronger. And that strength begins with motion. The challenge in today's lifestyle is that everything is built for comfort and speed, not for health. Remote controls, food delivery, escalators, digital communication, all of it promotes stillness. To reclaim your health, you have to go against the flow. You have to create reasons to move. Set reminders to stand. Take the stairs. Stretch during phone calls. Walk after meals. Dance while cooking. Park further from entrances. These small actions compound over time into powerful results. The body rewards you when you move. You feel it in your breath, in your energy, in the way your clothes fit and your thoughts clear. You feel it in the calm that follows a long walk, in the strength that builds after consistent effort, and in the confidence that returns when your body feels capable again. It doesn't matter how old you are or what shape you're in today. What matters is that you begin, because every step is a signal to your body. I care. I choose life. I choose strength. I choose to keep going. The tragedy is not in slowing down with age. The tragedy is in stopping altogether. Movement is a celebration of life. It is the difference between just existing and truly living. It is not optional. It is essential. And the moment you treat it as such, your body will respond with energy, resilience, and time. There is a deep, often overlooked truth about health that goes far beyond diet, exercise, or even sleep. It's the human need for connection. In a world that is more digitally connected than ever, real, meaningful connection is becoming alarmingly rare. People are constantly surrounded by noise, but starved of true presence. They scroll through endless feeds, text instead of talk, like instead of love, and silently withdraw into isolation while pretending to be engaged. What few understand until it's too late is that loneliness is not just an emotional state, it's a physical threat. It affects the body with the same intensity as poor diet, smoking, or chronic stress. Loneliness can kill, and it often does. Top heart surgeons and medical experts have begun to acknowledge this hard truth. They see patients come in with heart conditions that weren't caused only by cholesterol or genetics, but by years of emotional isolation, suppressed pain, and lack of human warmth. When you feel alone, your nervous system remains in a subtle fight or flight state. Your body perceives isolation as a threat. Cortisol levels rise, blood pressure increases, immune function drops, inflammation quietly grows, and slowly, almost invisibly, your health begins to erode from the inside out. Humans were never meant to go through life alone. Connection is as vital as oxygen. It is in our nature to need others, to be seen, heard, valued, and loved. Babies cannot survive without touch. Adults are no different. Relationships are not a luxury. They are biological necessities. A strong support system reduces the risk of heart disease, improves mental health, strengthens immunity, and even extends lifespan. The presence of people who genuinely care can act as a protective shield against life's most difficult moments. But today's culture glorifies self-reliance to a dangerous extreme. People are praised for being independent, for doing it all alone, for keeping emotions locked away. Asking for help is seen as weakness. Vulnerability is avoided. The result is a society full of people smiling on the outside while crumbling on the inside. The cost of this emotional disconnection is paid in the currency of health. Bodies break down under the weight of unshared burdens. Hearts give up when they have no one to lean on. The absence of connection isn't just sad, it's deadly. The real connection doesn't come from quantity, but quality. You don't need hundreds of acquaintances. You need a few relationships that are honest, consistent, and nourishing. People who show up. People who listen without judgment. People who bring calm to your chaos and remind you that you matter. Whether it's family, friends, a partner, a mentor, or a community, you need to invest in these relationships with the same urgency that you invest in your career, your goals, and your health, because these people are your lifeline when life gets heavy. Building strong connections requires intention. It means putting down the phone and being present. It means reaching out even when it's uncomfortable. It means initiating conversations, checking in, expressing appreciation, and sharing your truth. It means making time, not when it's convenient, but because it's essential. It also means learning to be that support for others, because meaningful relationships are never one-sided. They require effort, empathy, and openness. They require you to show up not as a perfect person, but as a real one. It's also important to recognize that connection doesn't always have to be grand. A short conversation, a kind gesture, a shared laugh, a silent hug, these small moments, when genuine, have massive power. They calm the nervous system, lower stress levels, and restore a sense of safety. They remind the body and the heart that you are not alone. And when you are not alone, your body doesn't feel the need to constantly be on guard. It can rest, it can heal, it can thrive. And what's especially powerful is how connection influences motivation. When you feel loved, supported, and seen, you are more likely to take care of yourself, you want to eat better, move more, rest well, and show up fully. You make healthier choices because someone is cheering for you, believing in you, and walking beside you. The desire to live longer and stronger becomes more meaningful when life is shared. In a world where everyone is busy, real connection is a deliberate act of love toward others and yourself. It takes courage to open up, to reach out, and to let someone in. But the health of your heart, physically and emotionally, depends on it. And the greatest tragedy is not living alone, but feeling alone in a world full of people. That's not how we're meant to live. That's not how we're meant to heal. Your body speaks long before it breaks. It whispers in tightness, in fatigue, in discomfort, in irregular rhythms, in small changes that seem easy to ignore. But the problem is most people do ignore them. They push through the exhaustion. They explain away the chest tightness. They dismiss the nagging pain, the strange headaches, the constant indigestion. It's just stress, they say. It'll pass. They rely on over-the-counter pills, caffeine, and excuses to cover up symptoms that are not random. They are warnings. And when these messages go unanswered for too long, the body eventually stops whispering. It screams. And sometimes it stops altogether. One of the biggest mistakes people make is treating their bodies like machines, assuming they can run at full speed indefinitely. They wait until they can no longer function before they stop and listen. But the body is not trying to ruin your plans. It's trying to protect you. That back pain after sitting too long, it's telling you to move. That persistent fatigue despite sleeping 8 hours, it's signaling imbalance. That recurring heartburn, it's not just poor digestion. It could be a red flag for something more serious. The signs are always there. The tragedy is that they're often ignored until a diagnosis forces you to pay attention. Top heart surgeons and specialists often emphasize one key lesson after years of working with patients on the edge of life. The earlier you listen to your body, the more you can prevent. They have operated on people who had signs for years: shortness of breath, high blood pressure, irregular heartbeats, unexplained fatigue, but chose to dismiss them. And when the body finally collapses, when the heart fails or the stroke comes, regret is the one thing no medicine can cure. Every second counts and every symptom means something. Listening to your body is not paranoia. It's awareness. It's learning the language of your health. It's noticing when your sleep changes, when your appetite shifts, when your mood feels off, when your energy dips without reason. It's checking in, not just when you're sick, but regularly. It's being mindful of how your body responds to certain foods, to lack of movement, to poor air, to stress, to overwork. It's recognizing that your body is constantly giving feedback. You just need to tune in. Modern life teaches people to override discomfort. Push through the day, meet the deadline, show up, no matter how you feel. But the cost of that approach is high. You may win the race, land the promotion, keep up appearances, but at what cost? When you push past your body's limits, you're not proving strength, you're gambling with your future. And strength is not about pushing through pain. True strength is knowing when to stop, when to rest, when to ask for help, and when to say something's not right. There is also a cultural belief that pain is weakness, especially among men and high achievers. But pain is not weakness, it's a message. It's your body trying to get your attention. If your car made a strange noise, you'd take it to a mechanic. But when your body sends signals, you tell yourself to shake it off. That thinking has led countless people to irreversible health conditions that could have been prevented with one doctor's visit, one test, one honest moment of listening. Being in tune with your body doesn't mean living in fear. It means living with respect, respecting the incredible system that keeps you alive. Your heartbeat, your breath, your digestion, your immunity, they are all miracles in motion, and none of them are guaranteed to continue without care. When something changes, don't assume it's nothing. Don't let pride or fear delay the decision to check. Prevention is not just a health strategy. It's a mindset. It's choosing to be proactive instead of reactive. Even more powerful is how this awareness changes your relationship with your body. You begin to see it as a partner, not a prisoner. You begin to appreciate its efforts to carry you, to heal you, to adapt and protect. You treat it better. You feed it better. You rest it without guilt. You train it without punishment. And most importantly, you learn to trust it. That trust leads to better choices, earlier interventions, and longer, healthier years of life. The truth is, no one knows your body like you do. Not even the best doctors. You live in it. You feel what others can't see. When something feels off, don't wait. Don't second guess your instincts. The price of silence can be a life cut short, but the reward for listening is vitality, longevity, and the quiet strength of a body that knows it's being heard. The human body is not designed to endure constant pressure. Yet today, chronic stress has become so normalized that people barely recognize it as a danger. It hides behind deadlines, responsibilities, family expectations, financial strain, and the relentless pace of modern life. It's the quiet force that keeps you awake at night, tenses your shoulders, tightens your chest, and shortens your breath. Most people have learned to live with it. Brushing it off is just part of life. But what they don't realize is that this constant stress is one of the most destructive forces working against their health. Chronic stress changes everything. It doesn't just affect your mood, it affects your organs, your blood vessels, your digestion, your immune system, and especially your heart. When your body perceives a threat, whether it's a looming deadline or an argument with a loved one, it activates the fight or flight response. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, your muscles tighten, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline to prepare for a physical reaction. But in today's world, there is rarely a release. You don't run from the threat, you sit with it. You internalize it. And when that stress response is activated over and over again without relief, it starts to wear down your system like water dripping on stone. Heart surgeons often speak of the deep and direct link between stress and cardiovascular disease. They see patients whose arteries have narrowed not just from cholesterol, but from inflammation, fueled by years of unprocessed stress. They treat hearts weakened by years of sleepless nights, anxious days, and repressed emotions. The physical effects of stress are not imagined. They are measurable. Chronic stress increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure, and arrhythmias. It weakens the heart not just metaphorically, but literally. People underestimate the power of emotional health on physical health. Holding on to anger, living in fear, drowning in anxiety, all of these emotional states create a biochemical storm inside your body. Your immune function drops. Your body becomes more prone to illness. Your digestion slows down. Your hormones go out of balance. You gain weight, not just from what you eat, but from what you carry emotionally. Stress becomes a silent thief that robs you of energy, clarity, and longevity day by day. Managing stress isn't about pretending life is easy or avoiding responsibilities. It's about learning how to process what you carry. It's about having tools to release the pressure before it causes damage. Movement is one of the most powerful ways to regulate stress. Walking, stretching, yoga, dancing, even breathing deeply can calm your nervous system. So can meditation, journaling, prayer, or simply stepping away from the noise. What matters is that you give your body and mind space to reset, because without a release valve, the pressure builds and eventually something breaks. Another critical factor is mindset. Many people carry stress not just from what happens, but from how they respond to it. Perfectionism, fear of failure, people-pleasing, constantly saying yes when you mean no. These behaviors create internal stress. Learning to let go, to set boundaries, to ask for help, and to forgive yourself are not emotional luxuries. They are medical necessities. The heart thrives in calm, not chaos, in peace, not pressure. You can't control everything that happens around you, but you can control how you respond to it. That choice could save your life. Patient also plays a role in reducing stress. Having someone to talk to, someone who listens without judgment, can instantly reduce the weight of what you're carrying. Loneliness magnifies stress while support diffuses it. You're not meant to carry everything alone. Talking to a friend, a therapist, a mentor, these simple acts of openness can be as healing as any medicine. The heart does better when it feels safe, seen, and supported. Even small, daily habits make a difference. Getting sunlight in the morning, drinking enough water, sleeping deeply, taking breaks throughout your day, turning off notifications, creating quiet moments, laughing. These aren't distractions. They're recovery tools. They bring your body back to balance. They allow your heart to beat calmly. They remind your system that it's safe to rest, to digest, to restore. What people often miss is that stress is not always loud. It can be the quiet sense of overwhelm you can't name, the restless sleep, the constant irritation, the lack of joy in things that once made you happy. If you feel that, it's a sign, a signal. Your body is asking for help, not just to survive, but to heal. You cannot ignore it and hope it goes away. You must respond early, gently, and consistently. Stress will always be part of life, but chronic stress doesn't have to be. The difference lies in awareness, in daily choices, in learning how to reset the system instead of pushing it to collapse. Your health depends on how well you learn to manage what you carry and how willing you are to put it down when it gets too heavy. There's a quiet danger that millions of people live with every single day without even realizing the risk they're taking. It doesn't come with pain or fever or dramatic symptoms. It builds slowly, silently, and powerfully until one day it strikes without warning. That danger is poor nutrition. And for heart surgeons who see the inside of the human body, the damage it causes isn't a theory, it's a terrifying reality. Every artery clogged with plaque, every enlarged heart, every damaged vessel tells the story of what people eat. And more often than not, the story is filled with processed food, sugar, excess salt, unhealthy fats, and a frightening lack of real nourishment. The human body is incredibly resilient, but it's not invincible. What you put into it either helps it heal or helps it break. Food is not just fuel, it's information. It tells your body how to function, how to repair, how to defend, how to grow. When you eat whole, nutrient-dense foods like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, you're giving your body what it needs to thrive. But when your diet is dominated by processed foods, refined carbs, sugars, and artificial ingredients, you're feeding disease, not health. One of the greatest deceptions of the modern food industry is the illusion of choice. Walk through a grocery store and you'll find thousands of items, colorful, packaged, convenient, but most of them are filled with chemicals, preservatives, added sugars, and sodium levels that slowly destroy cardiovascular health. These foods are designed to be addictive, engineered to trigger cravings, and marketed as quick solutions for busy lives. But the cost of that convenience shows up in blood pressure readings, blood sugar spikes, weight gain, and most dangerously, heart damage that goes unnoticed until it's too late. Top heart surgeons often say they can predict someone's lifestyle choices just by looking at the condition of their heart during surgery. A heart nourished by real food looks very different from one fed by junk. And what many don't realize is that it's not just about being overweight. Even thin people who eat poorly are at risk. It's not about how you look. It's about what's happening inside, the inflammation, the oxidative stress, the buildup of bad cholesterol, the lack of vital nutrients like magnesium, potassium, and fiber. These invisible factors matter far more than any number on a scale. Changing how you eat doesn't mean following extreme diets or chasing the latest food trends. It means going back to basics, eating more plants, cooking more meals at home, reading labels, reducing sugar, drinking more water, choosing real food over fake food. It means shifting from a mindset of restriction to one of nourishment. Not what do I have to give up, but what can I give my body to help it heal? That change in thinking is powerful. It turns food into medicine, into self-respect, into a daily investment in your future. One of the most damaging habits is mindless eating, eating while distracted, eating out of boredom, eating because it's there. When you disconnect from your food, you disconnect from your body's signals. You stop noticing how food makes you feel. You ignore fullness cues. You forget what real hunger is. Bringing awareness back to your eating habits, slowing down, chewing, tasting, noticing, can transform not only your relationship with food, but also your overall health. Your digestion improves, your cravings lessen, your body begins to trust that it's being cared for. Another overlooked danger is emotional eating. Food becomes a way to numb, to soothe, to cope. People reach for sugar or fast food not because they're hungry, but because they're lonely, stressed, angry, or tired. While the temporary relief may feel good, the long-term effects are devastating. Learning to separate emotional needs from physical hunger is one of the most important steps towards sustainable health. Instead of feeding your emotions, you learn to feel them, to work through them, and to find healthier outlets, whether that's movement, connection, or rest. What's hopeful is that the body is incredibly responsive to change. Within days of eating better, inflammation begins to drop. Blood pressure can stabilize. Blood sugar levels start to improve. Energy rises. Mood improves. These aren't abstract benefits. They're real, measurable, and felt quickly. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Every meal is a new chance to nourish, to protect, to strengthen. There's no shortcut to heart health. Pills can manage symptoms, surgeries can repair damage, but only nutrition can truly rebuild from the inside out. The food you eat today is either building a stronger heart or slowly weakening it. The choice is made with every bite, every meal, every day, and the power to choose differently is always in your hands. There is a deeply ingrained belief in modern society that more is always better. More work, more productivity, more ambition, more hustle. People wear exhaustion like a badge of honor and treat rest as a weakness. Sleep is sacrificed for late-night deadlines, early meetings, scrolling through screens, or the false pride of saying, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But what most people don't realize until it's too late is that this very mindset is costing them years of life, because chronic sleep deprivation is not just about feeling tired. It is a slow, silent threat that damages nearly every system in the body, especially the heart. Top heart surgeons know the truth that most people try to ignore. Poor sleep hygiene is directly linked to heart disease. Lack of sleep increases the risk of high blood pressure, stroke, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even sudden cardiac death. It affects your heart's rhythm. increases inflammation, and keeps your nervous system in a constant state of overdrive. When you don't sleep enough or you sleep poorly, your body never gets the chance to repair itself. Your heart doesn't get to rest, your hormones don't get to balance, your immune system doesn't recover. You may be alive, but your body is quietly deteriorating. The body and brain need sleep as much as they need oxygen and water. During deep sleep, the brain clears out toxins, the heart slows down to recover, and the blood vessels repair themselves. This is not optional. This is survival. When sleep is interrupted, too short, or constantly delayed, your body begins to accumulate stress it can't get rid of. Over time, this leads to metabolic dysfunction, poor circulation, and damage to the inner lining of your arteries. It's no coincidence that people who sleep less than 6 hours a night have a significantly higher risk of heart attack compared to those who sleep 7 to 8 hours consistently. But the issue isn't just the quantity of sleep, it's the quality. Many people go to bed but don't really rest. Their minds race, their bodies stay tense, and their sleep is shallow and fragmented. Technology plays a huge role in this. The blue light from phones, tablets, and TVs interferes with melatonin production, the hormone responsible for sleep. Social media, news, and constant notifications keep the mind stimulated long after the body wants to shut down. People climb into bed with their devices and wonder why they feel wired, anxious, or restless. And then there are the lifestyle choices that sabotage sleep without people even realizing it. Too much caffeine late in the day, heavy meals close to bedtime, alcohol that makes you drowsy at first but disrupts your sleep cycles, lack of daylight exposure during the day, and too much artificial light at night. All of these things confuse the body's internal clock, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Rest is not a luxury. It is your body's most powerful repair mechanism. Yet so many people treat it as an afterthought, something they'll get to later when there's time. But time is exactly what sleep gives you. Time in the form of health, energy, clarity, and longevity. You can't pour from an empty cup, and sleep is how you refill that cup each night. Without it, your decisions worsen, your mood declines, your energy crashes, and your health quietly slips away. Creating better sleep habits doesn't require massive life changes. It requires commitment to simple practices, setting a consistent bedtime, turning off screens an hour before sleep, creating a quiet, dark, cool sleep environment, avoiding heavy meals and stimulants in the evening, taking time to unwind, whether it's reading, deep breathing, or gentle stretching. These small habits send a signal to your body that it is safe to rest, that the day is done, that healing can begin. Sleep is not the enemy of success. It is the foundation of it. The most productive, focused, and resilient people protect their sleep because they understand that rest sharpens every tool they need for the day ahead. It improves memory, emotional regulation, immune strength, and cardiovascular health. It enhances performance and mood. It makes you stronger, not weaker, wiser, not lazier. There is no badge of honor in burning out, no pride in walking around exhausted. The world has convinced too many people that sleeplessness is noble, but heart disease, anxiety, brain fog, and burnout are the real costs of that illusion. If your goal is to live a longer, healthier, more powerful life, sleep must become sacred. It's not wasted time. It's the time when your body does the most important work of all, protecting you from everything you can't see and preparing you for everything still to come.